If you could only take away one thing from this video, two things from this video, make it one, that details are what differentiate you, and two, you want the admissions officer to get to know you because you are a person, you've had experiences, so make sure that you convey that. I started writing these in June of 2025 and I stopped writing them the day that they were due. That's not me procrastinating, that's not me being a perfectionist, maybe it is a bit, but these are important and your first essays are not going to be your best. I went through so many different versions of these. I've got thousands upon thousands of edits in here, and I'm going to UCLA. So without further ado, it's 11 p.m. and here are my essays. I'll give advice along the way. Describe how you express your creative side. What the heck does it mean for all unicorns to speak French? What excites me more than learning anything myself is leading others to grasp it and love it too. Through my YouTube channel, I explain complex STEM topics using analogies, visual engagement, and great background music. My first video, All Unicorns Speak French, was born from the confusing principle of vacuous truth. Simply put, if something doesn't exist, any statement about it is technically true. So yes, all unicorns do speak French. A friend of mine was struggling to understand this, so I scripted, filmed, and stitched together a humorous 60-second video to make the logic stick. I threw on some subtitles and uploaded the video. A week and 12,000 views later, I was back to brainstorming. I created a video on Hawking radiation, the evaporation of black holes, and its connection to quantum-level empty space. I went all in. I wrote in the air with neon font, created black hole simulations, and likened Heisenberg's time-energy uncertainty principle to an energy loan from the Bank of the Universe, all to ensure understanding, memorability, and scientific accuracy. After meticulously editing, I submitted it not only to YouTube, but to the Breakthrough Junior Challenge in hopes of reaching as many eager minds as possible. Each video in and of itself models the scientific method. It starts with an inquisitive idea, rooted in curiosity, shaped by research, crafted through filming and editing, and refined through community engagement. It's how I express my creativity, by transforming science into clear and engaging videos that drive others to wonder. For me, to understand is to share. This belief is why I treat creativity as translation. It's the act of turning a page of dense equations into an analogy that makes things click. I'll bring my drive to the UC undergraduate research setting, where I plan on creating accessible simulations that communicate the most esoteric physical theories. The universe is vast enough to hold black holes, dark matter, and yes, even French-speaking unicorns. I just want to help everyone else see them too. Of course, I show my creativity. I've always been interested in filmmaking and editing, but I also show it as a form of service. I show it as iterative process, like science. I show specific examples of my creativity. So I think, yeah, examples are crucial. Examples are what differentiate your story from everyone else's story. I try to do as much as possible to differentiate myself. Every single word counts. Every single word isn't forced to be there. It's there and it's serving a purpose. I try to tie my extracurriculars into my essays. This was my top listed extracurricular on my UC application, my YouTube channel. It had a lot of importance to myself and in discovering what I enjoy about physics. And so if you can take the reader along that journey, then they can get a better sense of you. So advice I've heard from the director of admissions at UC Davis is that these are essentially interview questions. These aren't supposed to be flowery stories or poetic prose. These are more straightforward and more declarative and colloquial, so keep that in mind. What would you say is your greatest talent or skill? How have you developed and demonstrated that talent over time? Here's my essay. It took me years of teaching myself guitar to realize that listening is my greatest skill. When I first performed Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here all the way through for my brother and dad, I felt like a real musician. But the more songs I learned, the more I realized I was missing something essential. I could replicate the notes and bar chords, but I wasn't connecting, not with the music and not with anyone listening. For the longest time, that was it. I was just copying chords and phrases. I watched John Mayer's 2008 Where the Light Is concert on repeat, trying to perfectly imitate his performance of Neon. But I'm not John Mayer. Over time, I realized what kept me sitting on the floor with an acoustic in my lap for hours on end was not replication, it was interpretation, to change songs and to make it for others. I set a new standard for myself, to learn a riff as intended, but adapt it to the moment, the room, and the people listening. Reworking Sinatra and Elvis for a dozen residents at a senior home, so the melodies match their energy, not necessarily the original tempo. Softening Jack Johnson for my calculus classmates after a brutal exam. Muting my picking to let my Mandarin teacher's voice stand out as she sings Remember Me in Chinese. Trading measures with Zach and Ephraim on sax and piano during an impromptu jazz jam session. I've learned to treat a song like a conversation, choose which parts to embellish or emphasize, which to silence, where to let a phrase breathe and ring out, and to know what to put in the spaces between. That interpretive instinct has shaped how I teach my friends calculus, collaborate on physics simulations, and navigate bureaucracy. Losing myself in the fretboard has given me more than calluses and finger dexterity. It taught me that technical proficiency in music or life means nothing if you aren't tuned into the people around you. At UC, I want to keep playing, but more importantly, I want to keep listening. I think I'm expressing a very concrete talent at first in my guitar, that's the surface level talent, but then I'm expressing myself further by calling my true talent interpretation. Now, I don't think that this should be stretched too much. You definitely shouldn't be stretching things on your application, but you should be clever. You should find some clever tie-in where guitar isn't necessarily the skill you're trying to express, but you're trying to express some sort of soft skill that makes it a little more memorable. This should read as a good essay. It should have like a varied sentence lengths, groups of 3, pacing, and once again, just specifics, details, anecdotes are crucial to differentiating yourself in a stack of applications. You can make tie-ins from small-scale microcosms of your experience into larger environments and integrating it into life experience as a whole. I always try to end each of my essays with what I'm going to bring to UC. Like the previous essay, I talked about research. Now with this one, I'm talking about playing and listening and interpreting. And I did that in like all my essays, and I guess it worked. Next PIQ, the prompt was, think about an academic subject that inspires you. Describe how you have furthered this interest inside and or outside the classroom. Some forces pull without touching. Gravity does it, so does curiosity. My dad drove 8-year-old me to a University of New Mexico observatory. Leaving our Honda minivan, we beheld a man sweeping a green laser through the sky, naming stars and sketching constellations. I felt dizzy seeing those elegant stellar patterns in the late Albuquerque evening. Reorienting, I ran, breaching the observatory door and ascending to peer into the eyepiece. I didn't know the nature of gravity or how fast light traveled, but I knew something for certain. I felt pulled, and I had to understand what pulled me. By 8th grade, I realized that a proper exploration of physics needed a different telescope: math. So I set a goal: master 3 years of math in just one. Integrated Math 1 through AP Calculus. My friends called me crazy, and I don't blame them. But as my evenings blurred into dawns watching Khan Academy and Black Pen Red Pen, I knew my preparation would serve me well. Freshman year, I entered AP Calculus and Physics 1. I asked for help where I needed it and helped wherever I could. I found community near the whiteboards with upperclassmen, dissecting how our free body diagrams erred. I learned the curricula, achieved 5s, felt happy but not finished. That summer was my makeshift semester, featuring humanities and, of course, math. When my freshman year calculus teacher offered me the TA role for AP Calculus in sophomore year, I was exuberant. I soon discovered that genuine mastery wasn't about finding the answer, but finding 3 different ways to explain it. It's about understanding the classmate and the problem, then searching for the proper distillation to bridge their gap. My knowledge wasn't truly owned until I could give it away. Ultimately, my pursuits culminated in a difficult decision: graduating after sophomore year. I'll miss breakdancing at homecoming, lunchtime chats with teachers, and hallway hellos. But I've exhausted my school's math and physics curricula, and even community college will run out. There's a cosmos of questions I don't have the answers to, but the boy at the observatory is ready to find out. So this is perhaps my most flowery essay, but I think it works in that it shows that I'm able to sort of tell a story, if that makes sense. This is very chronological, but it's very honest. I felt like I needed to address this sort of elephant in the room, the fact that I'm applying as a 15-year-old to attend as a 16-year-old. I need to show why I'm doing this. This one doesn't have as many specifics. This was the first essay idea I thought of. This was a very pivotal moment that my dad's brought up to me before when we went to the UNM observatory. But yeah, this is all true. This is like the TLDR of my 2 years of high school. I'd say every line has meaning and intention. That really needs, I need to hammer this into you guys. Every line needs to have intention. It doesn't have to be really stressful or anything, but every word has to be doing some sort of work. And then of course I use just more essay structure, more essay tools, like full circle at the very end. I think another important aspect of this PIQ is it shows how I navigated a pretty difficult situation, graduating high school after just 2 years. There are a lot of emotional ramifications to that, academic ramifications, and showing that I've weighed them all, or at least telling that I've weighed them all, is important. All right, PIQ number 7. PIQ number 7, the shortest prompt of them all. What have you done to make your school or your community a better place? To be honest, I thought making your community a better place was just about the strengths you brought to the table. Well, in third period immersion Chinese, I learned I was dead wrong. With only 3 years of non-immersion experience and a potent will to be with my native speaking friends, I needed to find the best way to claw my way up a 10-year knowledge gap in Mandarin Chinese, a notoriously difficult language. I didn't know how to embrace being this odd one out. I fell asleep reading textbooks on the corner of my bed, forced my brain to think in Chinese while scrambling eggs, and asked my computer science teacher for permission to skip 4th period and return to Mandarin. But my real breakthrough came from intellectual humility and authenticity rather than solo effort. Admitting what I didn't know and being unashamed to ask why I'm wrong did far more than help me learn. It invited others to lend a hand and to adopt a similar willingness to try. This shift led to a productive cycle of exchange. I'd tutor Jinhao or Kenton in calculus or physics, and they'd return the favor with pronunciation tips and cultural idioms. This constant, gracious reciprocity made it clear: shared struggle creates durable bonds. Real growth didn't occur when I aced a sentence quiz, but when I'd raise my hand in class and answer a question confidently and incorrectly. When someone's at their lowest, be that academically, mentally, or emotionally, that's the time to reach down and pull them up with all your might. My contribution won't necessarily be having all the answers, but fostering a community where inquiry is a strength and the flow of knowledge is second nature. I've seen this dynamic in a Mandarin classroom. I want to see how it works in a research lab. Because the best science happens when the odd one out, the undergrad who asks the stupid question, the grad student willing to admit they don't understand the data, feels empowered to speak up. I know how to build that culture, and I'm ready to bring it to UC. Okay, I think with this one, it might have had some of my corniest lines, but I really like the story behind all this. I mean, look at when someone's at their lowest, that's the time to reach down and pull them up with all your might. Like, that sounds really cheesy, but it really integrated with everything. Pulling someone up academically, like tutoring them. I was also in this club called Youth Advocates Club, where we did like mental health films and suicide prevention films. So it ties in like that without directly hitting someone over the head and telling them, hey, I did this.
Editor Damien here. One thing I forgot to mention is please don't use AI on this. AI can't develop the specifics and details and anecdotes that you really need to differentiate yourself, and really its sense of the college essay space is completely off, so you're just going to be met with a wall of rejections or waitlists at best if you use AI. So please, I'm begging you, it's not a shortcut to anything except for rejection. Continue.
I think there's some pretty important takeaways from this PIQ. One is that painting yourself as an underdog gets the admissions officer to really root for you. I think this is a great opportunity to show yourself getting humbled. Now, you don't need to do that. I just think it's helpful. It makes you more down to earth. And then once again, specifics. Specifics details are what differentiate you. And then once again, I have a tie-in to broader UC system at the very end. And I think even though the prompt doesn't explicitly say this, you should include what you are going to bring to campus. It asks, what have you done? But just as important as it is what you have done is what you intend to do and what you do with what you have, if that makes sense. A lot of the times contribution is about exchange. And then this is also important, my additional comments section. You really need to disclaim whatever you need to disclaim in here. You want to give them information on what's going on, what happened with your situation. It's really crucial. It's very important that you disclaim your grades here. Your grades, if you ever got like a B or a C, or if you had a bad stroke or something, then you need to mention that if there's some way to reasonably excuse it. This won't clean a D or a C from your transcript, but it will contextualize, and context is everything, specifics are everything, details are what differentiate you. I think taking advantage of opportunities is really what UC in particular is looking for. There are so many students and so many but still limited resources at a UC campus, so the fact that you're going to take care of it is really reassuring to them, I would think. Once again, This is just some kid saying something. And I just tried to emphasize making the most of opportunities. Also, another thing, admissions officers aren't going to kill you over tiny typos. While those are all my essays, I think there is a lot to glean from them. So if you want to read them further, I'll link them in the description. And if you ever need anything in the comments, just post a comment and I'll try to get in touch. I think that's it for me. Subscribe if you like physics, like if you enjoyed the video, share this with someone who needs help writing their essays. If you want to watch my reactions, they're here. And I hope you're able to learn something from this. I really appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Good luck.